Testing, testing. Oh, hello. Oh, I'm behind that.
Are we on TV?
We're on national television. This is the book channel. Did they used to have book clubs on television?
What does that mean?
What was that show as a kid?
Ghost Rider.
Ghost Rider?
Is it Ghost Rider? I thought that guess was ridiculous.
Yeah. What was that about, though? What was the book part of that?
No, there was no books.
There's no books.
It was
in
a
that?
dead author, I think. And his ghost would help children solve crimes by like writing things in sand. Does anyone else remember this? Cousin Matt.
We're all cousins here.
Yeah, Matt's in the chat. Oh, speaking of cousins, well, it'll come up in a minute.
What will come up? Do we have a new cousin or
something?
something?
I am talking to myself.
What cousin?
It's
what?
Frankenstein related.
Oh yeah, you should marry. Spoiler alert.
Don't.
Did they change that?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, people. Okay. Usually I do a poll for how many people have read
Yeah, pull it.
the book.
You need 3 though. You need didn't read, 1818, and 1831.
Did you read?
Sentences should start with capital letters.
We're illiterate on Booktendo. I read 1818.
Yeah.
I read 1831.
Yeah, or nothing.
Or I can't read.
How about I watched the 1920s movie.
I watched the
did you?
1931 film last night.
No way.
Yeah, because I actually think the differences between that and the book is way more interesting than the two.
Oh
editions
yes.
of the
Well,
book.
I don't know. I have not seen that. We should get into it. But for those of us in the area of Ottawa, Ontario,
Okay, is this a plug?
one of Ottawa's 2 indie art house movie theaters is playing The Bride of Frankenstein next month.
Okay.
The sequel to the movie.
I haven't seen it,
Yeah.
but I looked up what happens in it.
We
so
should go.
I ruined it for myself.
So now you know where to find us.
I can wait outside the theater. You've been messaging a random person thinking they're me?
Yeah, that's right.
Inviting me places?
So
We could talk about it.
One of Ben's Instagram fan accounts, I thought was Ben, because they just post as if they're Ben. It's like pictures of Ben and the profile picture's Ben.
Would I do that?
I just assumed it was Ben. So I've been sending him I sent him a movie I thought he should see recently. Like restaurants I thought you'd like. This person doesn't reply.
I'm missing out on. I thought
Yeah.
you just didn't like me anymore.
I prefer to talk to you through your fan accounts. Okay. Yeah, I assume they'll forward the message on to you.
You'd think that would filter up to me, but it
Yeah.
didn't. Yeah.
Oh well.
The movie you mentioned, I do actually want to go see that. I was
one?
actually thinking of talking to the theater and renting it out to do that.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Oh, no, you don't have to.
Because years ago they did it and I saw that. But there's a.
Oh, you're talking about something else.
I'm talking about The Shining, not
Okay,
Bride of
yes,
Frankenstein.
yes.
Basically, one way of watching The Shining, which is one of my favorite scary movies, someone had the idea of watching it forwards and backwards at the same time. So you're seeing the image like superimposed on itself. And because Kubrick's style is so like symmetrical, there's actually some really very cool visuals of things lining up in ways that feels almost deliberate.
There's a quote in the advertisement for this screening of the film from Kubrick saying this is how he intended you to watch it. I can't believe he said that out loud. He intended people to somehow, like back in the 70s when this came out, that would not have been easy to do.
No. And it's not even clear how you started. I think they start right before the credits. They start playing it back.
Oh, right, yeah.
So it's kind of like our parents had like, not saying our parents specifically, but people would like get high and like watch The Wizard of Oz
And
sing
Pink
to Dark Side of the
yeah,
Moon.
yeah, yeah.
It's just another fun thing like that. Volume 2 quiet.
Who's volume 2? My volume 2?
You're this guy.
Actually,
We're both
we're
just
sharing a
turning.
mic. Actually, am I too far from the mic?
That might be better now. I mean, it's not a mic for 2 people, so that's kind of my problem. Where's the music? Actually, does it sound listenable? Did you just snitch on your parents? No.
Definitely not.
Our mother famously said she had never been higher drunk in her life.
That's right.
Do you believe her?
I mean, I saw her drink wine. You know, not like a whole bottle of wine, but
Sure.
yeah.
Anyways, so how many people read Frankenstein?
Okay.
All right. More people read the
Interesting.
1818. Okay, so
1818 is
that's
popular.
1831 is the much more common version you probably would have read in high school if that's when you read it, I think. Although 1818 seems to have become more popular among literary circles,
So I've
let's
heard.
say. We could talk about the differences in the book. Look at the people here today. Most people here have not read the book. So usually I start Filmtendo. What?
Filmtendo?
Not Filmtendo. They can't read.
They didn't say they didn't read the book. They said they can't read anything.
Yeah.
They've never read any book.
Christine's a bad influence. She attracts an audience of people who don't know how to read.
Uneducated, anti-intellectual.
All right. I
Did you
thought
make a slideshow?
I just a little Google Slides here.
There's Boris. What's his face?
Salming. Borja Salming.
Okay.
He played for the Toronto Maple Leafs.
What? Are you serious?
No, that's not his name.
Oh. I don't know.
I'm going to end the poll. Most people can't read. I thought an interesting place to start is preconceptions. I knew nothing about the story of Frankenstein. I just had this image in my head.
Yeah.
And I guess I knew the sort of moral heart of the story being, the hubris of man creates a guy out of body parts, and that monster I thought had some sort of like sensitivity and was misunderstood, but was just like cast out by angry people, like Beauty and the Beast style is kind of what I had in my head.
Yeah.
And I thought of Frankenstein as like a monster that could barely verbalize
that's
his
the
thoughts
movie,
or emotions, which is the case in the movie. He's just like an idiot. In the book, he won't shut the fuck up. He is so annoying.
He's very articulate. He talks like biblically. He says thou instead of you. I don't know what they're trying to say there.
Yeah. So that's the biggest difference between the movie and the book.
Okay. That's really?
Was that you? Well, there's a lot of differences.
Yeah, okay.
But in terms of like what the monster represents,
yeah,
I guess that is like a fundamental difference. Like that is just the expression of the difference, right? The monster in the book is very much.
He starts out being like illiterate and just kind of groaning, and then he learns to talk like very quickly, and then all of a sudden he's like writing books.
Yeah, I guess that doesn't make a lot of sense. That was a pretty weak part of the. Also, for him to be like. I guess we're just getting into it. He's like, he finds his maker on the top of some snowy mountain. Is like, I've got to tell you my story about how terrible my life has been.
It's like a third of the book.
And then it's like 100 pages of, and then I ate a walnut off the floor.
Yeah.
And I was in
all he eats is like twigs and berries. Yeah.
Or even just like, he's telling this guy his family, the family history of the family he is just observing through like a peephole.
Yeah.
As if that is like, is this very essential that in this meeting of maker and monster that this is that whole section felt very strange to me.
Yeah, I read in one of the introductions of the 2 volumes I was reading, there's a long section where they talk about the family and their names tell you something about something. One of them represents wisdom, and one of them represents strength, and one of them represents courage or something. So there's all sorts of metaphorical stuff happening, but it drags for sure in the middle third.
All right. Did you have? Or sorry, are the cookies ready? Are they flat? Are the cookies flat?
They look like they could use them.
You want to take them out when they're just starting to look brownish around the rim.
Cookie spoilers. Someone wants to know if we went to the Panda game. Someone with some...
The Ottawa?
Yeah, the Ottawa...
Definitely not.
No, but I was impacted by the traffic.
Oh. Yeah. Did your car get flipped
over?
Crazy.
It's crazy out there. No, that doesn't happen until after dark.
Oh, yeah.
Those are massive.
That's done.
Okay.
Those are real
thank
big.
you. Do you want to show, chat?
Is that Batman?
Careful,
You talking about me?
It's hot.
Careful now. These are Franken cookies.
Cookies in
Do
the
you know
chat.
what that means? Guess what a Franken cookie is.
Is it made out of several different cookie doughs that you cram together? You roll together?
That's a good guess.
That's
that would
what
have
I would do.
been smarter and more work.
Okay.
It is a chocolate. It's a cookie recipe, but I have 8 different types of chocolate chips in there.
Ah, I see. Okay.
It was doable. So we've got
I didn't know there were 8 different types of chocolate
milk
chips.
chocolate chips, semi-sweet chocolate chips, dark chocolate chips, white chocolate chips, peanut butter chocolate chips, cream cheese chocolate chips.
Are you sure they're cream cheese and chocolate chips, or just cream cheese
cream
chips?
cheese chips?
That's not a chocolate chip. Doesn't count.
It's a chip
You're
it.
still at 5.
Chocolate mint chips.
Okay.
What was the last one? What did I forget, chat?
Dark? Did we say dark?
I said dark.
Light?
Butterscotch. There's butterscotch
yes.
chips,
Good.
which I guess is also
Not
butterscotch
a
chips.
chocolate chip. Yeah. Okay. Well, still good.
So peanut butter, mint, butterscotch, chocolate. You got all the right flavors in there.
Mint and yeah. Okay.
All right. Did you have more of an idea of the Frankenstein story before getting into this?
No, possibly less.
Okay.
I really knew nothing about it. I've been meaning to read it for years and years. Our friend Travis has been telling me to read it, and then when I told him I was reading it, and he told me not to waste my time, so I told him this is your fault that I'm reading this. It's also somewhat your fault.
Well, that doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
Did he want you to read it or not?
I don't know. Who can tell with this guy? But anyway, I knew less than you, and I've not seen the film. But I also had this. I was pretty sure the monster wasn't like a groaning imbecile, like I think he is in the movie.
Yes.
Yeah, but I didn't expect him to be like writing books. Like at one point, he writes some. He carves something into a tree for the protagonist, for Victor Frankenstein to read, and it's like 3 paragraphs long. Like, how did you fit that on a tree?
It's a very big tree.
Yeah.
In the trailer for Bride of Frankenstein,
Uh-huh.
a pitch is that in this movie the monster talks.
I see. Yes. Okay.
Yeah. So in the first,
this was common back in the day. I understand. The same thing happened with Dracula, because like the idea we have of Dracula in Bram Stoker's Dracula, is this like old decrepit guy.
yes,
And then like Nosferatu is like a direct ripoff. I just punched the mic.
that's okay.
And I think this was common in like the 19th and like early 20th centuries, but they would like take these well-known properties, and there were like no like copyright or licensing. You could just
rip it off,
You just rip it off and like make a stage version. And whoever made the stage Frankenstein, which I think the movie was based on the stage play.
It was based on a
rather than
play
the
at a
book.
yeah. You're right.
Yeah.
I think even in Mary Shelley's lifetime, I think Frankenstein gained some notoriety in terms of how it had been adapted for the stage as opposed to her story. So it's not even that's just like a modern, because this was made 100 years after her
This movie?
re-release. Yeah, because
And it's 100
1931.
years, almost 100 years ago now.
Yes,
Yeah,
that's fucked up.
wild. Hard to believe.
Because so many people didn't read,
We'll talk about something else. What
The
did you guys
book.
read? You want to talk about that instead?
they can't read. We should at least give some idea of
They
the
can't.
story.
They can't read this though.
Oh, they don't see
Wait,
it
are these your
anymore.
notes, or are you putting this up on the?
So this is
What is this?
just like how the book was divided
You
into
really
sections.
You really did make a slideshow.
I did make a slideshow. How can I make that bigger?
Captain Walton's introductory narrative. Yeah.
Yeah, so it starts with the.
Yeah.
Usually I just sort of wing this and say like how I remember the book goes.
Yeah.
So you can help me fill in some
It's
blanks.
a really nice. It's like Tenet.
Yes. Here's the tensor operation, or what did they call it in that fucking thing? All right, so it starts with a guy's on a boat. He's like, I want to do cool stuff with my life. I'm trying to find a passage,
Yeah, he's looking for the Northwest Passage.
Northwest Passage, and he's writing his sister to be like, I want to do cool shit. And then one day he's like, hey, I'm on this boat so long. I've convinced all these men to come with me, but like all I want is a friend. He's just like, I just really want a friend. I have feelings. I wish I could share these feelings with a friend.
He's a snob, and he assumes that all of the men sailing with him are imbeciles who are not capable of deep emotional, intellectual conversations.
Like him. So one day they look outside, like the conditions are getting more treacherous. They're getting sort of stuck in ice and all that. They see this giant man racing across the ice on a sled. And then 12 hours later, or a day later, this more regular-sized man sort of comes upon their vessel on death's doorstep. And they take him in, and he tries to nurse him back to health. And he notices this is a man worthy of friendship that he comes to adore and love, and this guy shares the story with him, and that story is the story of Frankenstein's monster. This is Victor Frankenstein. So then the next section of the book is his narrative. He talks about his childhood. This is a little fuzzy to me now because I read the first part a long time ago, and then I picked up the second and third volumes later.
Cookies.
Oh, we got a Franken cookie. Was that for me or for
That's
chat?
for chat. Switch it to full.
Open wide, chat.
I interrupted to bring you this Franken cookie.
We need the open.
Oh!
Thank you.
Do you want to open it up?
Open it up for them. You
Does that
should
mean-
turn on the light. Can I turn on the light so they
can
can
turn on
see
the light.
cookie?
I don't like white chocolate. Can you take the white chips out of mine?
I
is
couldn't
it
tell
plugged?
which are white chocolate and which are cream cheese.
Oh no.
I don't know if we need the light. We look pretty bright. It's not plugged in. That's why.
Oh, well, that's a problem.
I think we're good. I'm on TV.
We look all right. It's a big cookie.
Fix it in
Show
post.
them. Show
I
them.
did it. I opened it.
No, you gotta show them.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Rude. Where are your manners?
It's
Where's
just gonna. They've seen this.
It's not. I'm not in focus.
It's because it focuses on the eyes, not
The eyes of the cookie.
Yeah, the cookie needs eyes for it to focus. Just that's. Is it too hot to eat?
I
Definitely
don't
not.
know. You tell me.
Nothing's too hot to eat.
Okay.
I'm eating
See?
it.
Nothing is ever too hot to eat. You heard it.
It's perfect. Oh, so
How disgusting
this
is
is real weird. The mint does not go with the other flavors.
it? Right? But like, if you skip the mint and you get a bite that doesn't have mint, like
Yeah,
it's
the
pretty
mint
good, yeah.
kind of ruins the cookie because otherwise,
You got an unfortunate first
yeah,
bite.
yeah, I
then.
think so. Otherwise, I'm pretty sure it's good.
Those non-minty bites, though, that's where it's at.
It's a surprise. You never know what you're gonna get.
I think when the butterscotch hits, that actually dominates everything else. Butterscotch and mint are like
This
adversaries.
is a real mint-heavy half cookie right here.
Victor is butterscotch. Frankenstein is the mint.
Deep.
All right, so what are you doing?
More cookies.
Trying to have a book club here.
No.
Is a book club just about eating and talking shit with your friends?
New poll. Would you rather talk about cookies or the book?
Probably cookie.
Stop having eyes.
Almost certainly cookies.
Cover your eyes.
Didn't work.
I think it focused on like the Oreos behind us or something.
Oh, you still have those?
Yeah, I didn't pop. I'm saving them for a special occasion. Benji. Cookies. I didn't read the book. Read. You should learn to read. All right. So most of the story is told from Victor Frankenstein's perspective. Where does it start? He talks about his childhood a bunch. His mother dies when
Yep.
he's young. Is there more to that story that I'm not remembering? What are the circumstances of her death again? Their children get sick. His sister or his cousin, and she can't help herself, and she like goes into the room, and she gets
Elizabeth
the
has typhoid.
Yes.
Yeah, and then she's told to stay away, and as soon as she starts getting a little bit better, she goes to see her because she loves her.
Yes.
Yeah, and and then she gets typhoid and dies.
So the mother's death is
Yeah.
tied to the love of the children.
This is Mary Shelley's mother died just after she was born. So
Yes.
There's something going on.
So there's some sort of parallel going on here. Anyway, so Victor he seems like a very comfortable guy. Something that came through in the movie a lot for me is what a spoiled brat he kind of is.
Victor?
Yeah. Did you get that impression from the book? Kind of like he can just sort of do whatever, go study. He seems like comfortable.
Oh, yeah. I think everybody who was like writing books was from that social class back then where you
Yeah.
didn't really have to work. So it comes off as like pretty obnoxious now, but I think
Yeah.
everybody that like whose name we know from that era was probably the same
Very
way.
comfortable in that way.
Yeah, comfortable. That's a good way to put it.
Let's put it that way. So he goes to school. Thank you, Amy. Amy, can you read?
Be nice to Amy.
So when he goes to school, I guess because in his childhood he came across these books of like about mysticism, or what's the word for like can you turn something into gold? Alchemy. Like because he's been exposed to books about like pseudoscience, he's sort of interested in concepts of ideas of what science can do that go beyond just the more sort of boring academic things you would typically learn in school. So it's sort of he attributes this to his why when he goes to school and starts learning about like actual scientific methods and things, his interests are still in how that science can do things like reanimate dead bodies and make them alive again. Story doesn't make a ton of sense in that he just like over the course of a year or two becomes a student who somehow discovers. There's no explanation given for like how he figures out how to reanimate corpses.
That was the most surprising part of this. He goes on like on and on and on about like the two professors he talks to and their different philosophies of chemistry and like the stuff he's learning. And then when he learns to give life to dead things, it's not clear if he can animate like rocks or it has to be things that used to be alive. He just sort of announces that he did it, and it's not even very kind of directly explained. Just like, and then I made a discovery that no man had made before me.
He tells his listener, the captain of the ship, that he doesn't want to get into how it was possible.
Oh, right.
Because that would reveal
Yes, okay.
the method that has ultimately cursed his life, which becomes clear as you read. But yeah, it did feel a little strange. I'm not typically someone who gets hung up on how plausible a story is, but I like it to at least internally sort of make sense in the story, and that seemed like a sort of weak point to me. Anyway, he figures out how to bring this. He spends months, driving himself insane in this pursuit of bringing this compilation of body parts back to life. And as soon as he does, and this creature gets life, not from electricity like the movie, I think it's implied there's some sort of chemical interaction or something happening here. As soon as he brings this monster to life, this hideous thing, he immediately, has this moment of realization of like, look at this hideous creature I've made. As if that only became apparent to him once it became...
Doesn't he talk about how beautiful like the body parts are that are going into it?
I think so.
And so he has no problem with them while they're dead. But as soon as it comes to life, he's disgusted by it.
As soon as he has this creation. So in an almost comical way, he just sort of leaves. And it's like, he's like, I just want to forget about that.
Yeah, and he's like, I'm just going to leave my house. And he even says, like, he might be at home smashing my stuff, but, like, I'm too afraid to go find out. Yeah.
That was one of the craziest parts of the book.
Yeah.
Oh, I just animated a giant corpse body in my apartment.
And it's terrifying.
I'm getting out of here.
I'm just gonna go for a walk.
And you don't hear anything about the monster.
Yeah, then for like 2 years.
For 2 years after that. As if like someone didn't come across this. That was a little strange. What happens to Victor after that?
He's haunted by what he's done.
Yes.
And is like terrified of like having to deal with this in some way.
Not that he's really dealing with it at all.
No, but then it's all he's obsessed by it. And then eventually he goes home. He doesn't want to go see his family and face them because I guess he's embarrassed about what he's done. But he has to eventually. I also don't remember the circumstances exactly.
So he gets home at some point, or a letter gets sent to him when he's about to go home that his younger brother has been killed.
Murdered.
And yes, like the black mark on the neck from having been choked to death. I thought he fell sick. I think it's implied that he goes into like a sickness delirium and his friend comes to get him at this point, Henry Clerval or whatever.
Oh, yeah, right. He's in the delirium after he makes the monster.
Yes.
Yeah. Henry shows up like right after this. And then he finally, like after months of being like a nervous wreck, he finally gets well enough and decides to go home. And as soon as he's ready to go home, as soon as he gets lucid again, he gets this letter from his father saying that his youngest brother is dead.
He's very like a child, right?
The middle brother is just like vanishes from the story. Eh? Like
I forgot he existed.
Yeah, or there's another Ernest, and he's just like never comes up.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, so he goes home, and there's a moment where he is certain that it was the monster that did it. What is it that triggers that in his mind?
I don't know. I thought this book was going to go in a totally different direction. Like it turns out he's wrong about it, and the monster is actually like a misunderstood good person.
That would have been way more interesting.
Yeah, because he just like assumes that the monster did it for no real reason. And at one point he acknowledges that. He says like, I actually don't have any proof of this.
Turns out it's true.
Yeah, it turns out he just did it. And even from the very beginning, it's clear that Victor Frankenstein, when he's discovered by Captain, Walton? Yeah.
Walton, yeah.
When I thought he was chasing Frankenstein to like apologize and try to bring him back to society, because I thought that would be an interesting ending. But no, he's just trying to kill him for revenge. Yeah.
So what's strange about the circumstances around the death of his younger brother too is that this innocent young lady is framed for the murder.
Yeah, who's not mentioned before, but...
but who comes up with some...
by the way, this girl grew up with us also.
Yeah, very close relationship. Like, she grew up like a sister to us. Yeah, that felt a little ham-fisted, but it seems so... I did not believe for a second it was the monster that had the cunning to frame the girl.
Yes, right. Yeah.
So it was another reason I thought it was going in the same direction you did, that this was a sort of red herring. The monster had nothing to do with the death of the child. Nope. It turns out when Victor runs into the monster on the mountain, the monster's like... First of all, it's never called a monster in the book, really, right?
Yeah, it's called like creature, being...
Demon.
A demon a lot, which I guess is basically the same as monster.
Yeah. Anyway, so the monster says, let me tell you what things have been like for me the last 2 years. It is a lot of like, oh, I found this family and all I wanted is to be loved by them, and I sort of just lived close to them for a long time, and I spoke to the blind father, but when the human beings saw me, they just were like, they just had a visceral reaction of attacking it. At one point, the monster saves a child from drowning, and the father shoots it because it's a monster. But anyway, like I just wanted to get to the point where the monster does say, like, yes, I did kill your brother. When I went back to your apartment, I found out like who you were and where you're from and some information after I learned how to read and speak. And yeah, I killed your brother and framed your
Whatever, yeah.
that lady for it.
Justine, who's like a servant, right? She's like treated like a servant in the household.
Yes.
They talk about how much they love her, but
Yeah. So
Justine the servant, yes, exactly.
Justine the servant. So the monster's like, well, hey dude, we could talk more about the monster's experience since I just glossed over that very quickly, but he's like, nobody loves me. All humans are shunning me and not giving me a chance. What I want from you is to make me a really ugly lady who will love me.
That is more or less how we piss
I will go hide in South America.
Yep.
You'll never see me again. Just make me a big old corpse lady that I can get it on with. That is basically the story of Frankenstein. This is what he wants. Is music too funky? And at first, Victor agrees. Well, he reluctantly agrees. I think
He refuses for a while.
there's a threat implied in... Was the threat implied when he asked? I guess so. Does the monster basically say, I'm gonna...
I don't think he says specifically what he's going to do, but he says he's going to be like a blight on his life and then all of humanity.
That sounds right. Why does everyone call Frankenstein the monster and not the doctor? What? Oh, you think the Victor is the villain of the story? I think that's the point. I mean, they're both monsters in a way, right? Should we get through the summary? I feel like I'm doing a lot of summarizing just for people who didn't read the book. You're supposed to read the book if you're going to be here.
Yeah. Well, we can wrap this up real quick.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, so he says he's going to do it, and he starts doing it, and then he changes his mind one night, and then the monster starts murdering people, murdering like the rest of his family.
Yeah, so it kills his good friend.
Kills the friend, and then
frames him for it, but he's proven innocent. He goes back home. The monster, he makes a big deal of the monster saying, I'll be with you on your wedding night.
And stupidly, he assumes that means
that the
monster will murder Victor on his wedding night.
Not his cousin.
The fiance, yeah.
Not his, the cousin he loves so much. The cousin wife. That's a new TLC show.
Oh, good.
cousin wives. But no, so yeah, on his wedding night, he's expecting, there's this impending dread that he will be murdered in front of his wife, but no, the monster kills the cousin wife.
Mm-hmm.
And then it sort of comes back to the beginning of the story where he's chasing this monster to the north. The monster is going north because it's impervious to cold.
Right.
So the monster is really toying with him, torturing him. Yeah, come chase me. I want to like wear you out until I eventually kill you after I think you've experienced enough misery. So Victor's telling the story to Captain Walton and ultimately dies, succumbs to his sickness. I don't know what it is. He dies on the boat, and Frankenstein the monster. Was the monster already on the boat? Is it implied he was there the whole time, or no, he arrives?
I think he just, the monster like shows up wherever he can be to be like the spookiest, basically. He's just like he's always aware of everything anybody ever says or does.
Yeah.
And he's just like, I guess it's meant to be scary that he could be anywhere at any time, and he seems basically invincible. Like there seems like there's no hope of like fighting him directly.
Yeah.
Always lurking. Yes, exactly.
Although when he's shot, he implies like that was a big deal.
Yeah, it takes him some time to recover.
Yeah. But anyway, so Frankenstein's there, and he's like, oh, I guess you've heard all about me. But I want you to know, I didn't really enjoy killing all those people.
It was worse on me than it was on all those people I killed. He basically says that. Yeah. Like they're dead. I have to live with the shame and regret of murdering them. So I don't think that makes it okay.
That's a good defense. Okay. We've already touched on it, but differences between 1818 and 1831. I read the 1818, so did you.
That's right.
Seems like most people who read did do that. My understanding was that 1830. First of all, someone in the Discord posted a Google Doc that has the appendix from an edition of the book that tells you every difference between them. So in many cases, well, first of all, like she wrote Frankenstein in 1818 when she was like 20 years old.
I think she was, yeah,
or maybe
I think it was
not
20
even.
when it came out, because there's Lord Byron's review at the time, and he says like she's 20 now, and she was not 20 when she wrote this.
Yeah, so which
She's
is
a
pretty
teenager. It's amazing.
That's amazing, right? So I think a lot of the 1831 text, she's made a bunch of subtle changes, I think maybe just to make her writing better. But the introduction I read to the 1818 version and another article I found implied that there was a lot of backlash to the 1818 version once it became known it was
A woman?
this woman who wrote the
yeah.
book, that how could a delicate woman write such a terrible story about the mutilation of corpses and man playing God. So a big difference in the 1831 text, to my knowledge, is that she is more explicit, or repeatedly sort of expresses that she doesn't like what Victor is doing, and it paints Victor in a sort of a worse light. But I take that to be her like telling the reader, like, I know what he's doing is bad, and it almost seems sort of defensive that I wouldn't just casually say this guy is, I don't know, assembling body parts.
It paints Walton in a worse light too. One of the very first changes is when he meets Walton on board, and Walton tells him like, I'm going to go discover this new passage through the north. And Frankenstein says like, oh, you're as bad as I am. Like, why are you lusting after great things and, to be remembered by history? You should just not try to do interesting things.
It's not like that theme isn't there already, though. This idea of like these men who think they want to do incredible things, and like that the hubris or arrogance of man is bad. Like that's all there already. Like it's not like the 1818 text like casts Victor in a positive light in any way. Like the whole point of the story is that him playing God destroyed his life and any chance of happiness he had. Does this say anything else? Elizabeth's origin is changed from Victor's cousin to being an orphan.
The easiest way to know if you've read the 1818 or 1831.
Okay.
She's either his cousin, who is raised by his father after his aunt, his father's sister, dies. And in the 1831, it's an orphan that they like just kind of find on vacation in Italy and just like take because like it's pretty. And even it says like it's like this poor Italian family. And then one of their children is like blonde and better looking than the rest of them. So the family decides they need to have it. And it turns out that it's the reason it's better looking is because it's descended from like it was a Milanese nobleman, so someone of like more Northern European ancestry. And yeah, and like that's why she's prettier than the more Mediterranean looking ones. And the family's like, well, like we've been raising this daughter as our daughter, and I don't really want to give her away, but like we're poor and we can't provide for her, so I guess you should take her and give her a better life. Yeah, it's weird.
That's pretty strange.
Yeah.
Keep in mind that we're talking 18.
Yeah, it was like 200 years ago.
Yeah.
Times were different.
Okay, we don't need to start a cancel Mary Shelley hashtag or anything like that. I had 3 discussion questions I put in the Discord. I mean, a lot of this has just sort of come up naturally.
Sure. These are not questions.
Okay, so I guess one thing I at least wanted to
that's a
touch on is
question.
some people sometimes point to Frankenstein as like the earliest or first example of science fiction.
Yeah, was that a thing back then? Is there an earlier? Who's the expert here? Shannon, help us.
I don't think so. I don't even have like a working definition of science fiction. Someone in the Discord said it's not just about the presence of futuristic or technological elements, but the use of technology and science to ask and answer questions about humanity.
Okay.
I feel like that's a pretty good definition, but at the same time, does there not have to be some sort of like fictional or fantastical element to the science? If it's just like science grounded in realism, is that still science fiction, or does any aspect of the science itself have to be fictional? Because Frankenstein would still fall into that category and be a good example of that. But if I just wrote a book and it just has a lot of science in it, but it's just like medical procedures that happen every day. Is that still science fiction? Probably not.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
You know, like Oppenheimer. I guess that's a true story, so maybe not the best example, but like a book about guys who invented a bomb. Is that science fiction just because they're doing science in inventing a bomb? I don't know. Anyway, Frankenstein science fiction, yay or nay? Is Frankenstein science fiction?
New poll.
I could do a poll. I think the answer is just yes, though.
Oh, that's also Shannon saying it.
Oh yeah, Shannon already said things.
Shannon's our leader.
Shannon, is it science fiction? Shannon writes book reviews of the
really?
books we've read. Yeah.
Okay.
I think there's too much consensus of yes to say I don't think a poll is necessary.
Someone be a contrarian.
Yeah, does anyone argue that it is not science fiction? It's not literally the first sci-fi book?
I'm probably not, but I think Marlene makes a good point that like this was sort of the beginning of, well, I guess the Enlightenment was earlier than this, right?
Yes.
When was the Enlightenment? Is that when science fiction would have potentially started?
I have no idea. Yeah, I mean, what is even the concept of science fiction pre-industrialization? Anyway, maybe this isn't a good question anyway.
Speculative fiction. Yeah, it's just semantics.
Did you have sympathy for the monster? I wanted to touch on this because I think this is the biggest thing where my expectations didn't match up with.
You thought you'd have more or less sympathy?
I thought I would have way more sympathy for the monster.
Okay. That's because I think we've been raised in this society where the only thing you know about Frankenstein is that really the monster is misunderstood.
Yes.
But he's pretty much just a sadistic murderer.
Yeah, and
it's too bad he had a rough childhood and he's ugly, but that doesn't mean it's okay to murder people.
But yeah, okay. That I felt the exact same way. And the fact that he was so articulate and learned
right,
really didn't help. Like the ignorant monster that is barely aware of its like if he's like Lenny who accidentally murders the rabbits because he doesn't know his strength, you know? Or like I murdered a child because I just didn't know what I was doing. The movie version of Frankenstein makes more sense to me because he basically is that. But the fact that he is so capable of reason and is trying to reason with Victor about like how you could make me happy by giving me my ugly wife. It tells me like, and even at the end, he acknowledges all the awful things he did and how much it hurt people and how he didn't even enjoy doing it. It was so much harder to be sympathetic of his position, even if fundamentally, like, yeah, you can have some empathy for, you know, someone created this hideous being and then just sort of abandoned it. The monster specifically says he was pleased to have killed the brother. I don't remember that.
I feel like I remember that. Yeah. But then at the end, he's talking about how much he regrets. And even as he was doing it, how he regrets that he was doing these things and he felt he had no self-control.
There is sort of a feeling of sadness at the end when Frankenstein is dead and he's...
Yeah.
I guess there's some recognition there that like that basically means his story has come to an end too. I sympathize with his backstory, but obviously don't at all with his actions. Okay, here's a question. Is Frankenstein an incel?
That's a really funny, very modern take on Frankenstein.
I could go back to school.
The really modern incel.
I'll write a dissertation on Frankenstein, the first incel.
For sure this has been done.
Has someone... Okay, I want to read it. If someone's done that, I want to read it.
That's all right. It's a really great take. Yeah.
He def be an incel.
I think so.
Would he be an Andrew Tate fan? Do you know who that is?
Yes.
Yeah?
Unfortunately, I know who Andrew Tate is.
Okay.
Yeah. He was in Romania when I was in Romania.
Can I ruin...
He's still there, I think.
Can I ruin Bride of Frankenstein for you? Do you care?
No, not really.
Okay, because in the book, when
is she an Andrew Tate fan?
Yeah, so Bride of Frankenstein's a huge, like, red pill men's rights figure. No,
Femcel.
Okay, spoiler alert for Bride of Frankenstein. In the book Frankenstein, when Victor is considering or in the process of making this bride for him, remember at one point he goes, well, first of all, he's worried that like he'll create just like a whole race of or species of creatures that will like
procreate and then
take over the world,
stronger than humans and evil, and which is sort of reasonable based on what has happened so far.
At one point, he says like, "What if I make this lady?"
And she doesn't like him either.
And she doesn't even like him, and she would prefer like the like normal men.
Yeah. That's what happens.
That's what happens.
Oh, okay, I see.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
So yeah, you should look up the Bride of Frankenstein clip. They also have like a blind man teaches Frankenstein how to speak in that. So like they bring some elements of the story back into the sequel.
I think that's an easy one. Easy yes. Incel. The first incel.
Okay. Frankenstein incel. And then another thing I wanted to like about the book or find in the book more than I maybe did was just even the introduction to the edition we both read. Mm-hmm. By the way, I pretended to be you when I bought that book.
Okay.
They're like, oh, do you buy books here? And I go, yep, my name's Matt.
Like, I'm literally doing it right now.
I don't know. Like there's some rewards program.
Yeah, that's
you don't have to say where you got it, but okay, anyway, I pretended to be you.
Thank you.
Identity theft.
I got your points.
Okay.
Does that count as identity theft?
if you only get a benefit from it?
Yeah, exactly.
Actually, that's a good question. If I stole your credit card, I didn't spend any money, but
I took my credit card and you paid off my balance?
Yeah, and I just got you points or something.
Is that...
I got you air miles. Is that fraud?
I guess it could be done in like service of a crime.
Okay.
Anyway.
In the introduction to the edition we read, it was, I thought, very heavily implied that a lot of Mary Shelley's life circumstances were reflected, would be reflected in the story in a meaningful way. And specifically, I guess I was expecting the creator-monster relationship to be that of of an unwanted child. I thought that would be very sort of metaphorical or the theme. And that didn't come through to me at all. It felt way more like a god abandoning his progeny. He's like, I'm your Adam, make me an Eve. You're my creator. It didn't really speak to me at all about this. It didn't speak at all to me about like a more sort of complex emotional interplay of a parent abandoning a child. Did you feel like it did that at all?
I got some of that. He doesn't refer to it in like familial like child terms. Yeah. Only in a more kind of religious creator and creation terms. But he says like he felt some responsibility to have raised it and to care about it, and he doesn't, and he feels guilty about that.
At like pretty much at the end, right?
It's a somewhat parental,
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah. I don't think Mary Shelley though had unwanted children.
I think her father.
She was the unwanted child.
Yes, she was the unwanted child when she hooked up with a man who was already married.
Right.
I guess her father thought that was disgraceful and basically disowned her. But yeah, I didn't feel like that came through all that strongly. People like to talk about like how Mary Shelley's feminism and her mother being a feminist is sort of reflected in this story, and I guess maybe it is to the extent that I guess the female characters do seem pretty reasonable compared to the men.
Do they? This was the most surprising to me. So for someone who was famously held up as a feminist icon and whose mother was literally one of the very early feminist icons, like there aren't strong female, or I guess maybe she's making a statement about the times that the female voices like don't really, they're like almost silent. Like Elizabeth hardly had, exactly. Hello Volta notes. Elizabeth doesn't really do anything. Bland. She's like constantly described as being like angelic and perfect, and she's on this weird pedestal. She doesn't really have like any personality. And then the only other woman, Justine, is barely in the book. She just sort of like appears to be a plot device to be murdered and make Victor feel bad. And the only other woman is Walton's sister, who like he's just writing letters to her, but she doesn't even bother to include the letters like she's getting back. Like he references the letters he's receiving, and they can't even be bothered to write a female character. I was very surprised.
Is the point that they're voiceless? The only thing I'd add is the Safi character.
Oh yes,
is sort of a virtuous woman, like her father.
Right.
This is in the weeds of like the family the Frankenstein's monster finds in the woods.
Yeah.
But she sort of abandons her immoral father to be with the son that saved him and their family. And so I guess you can argue that that's a somewhat
but none of them were like really fleshed out drawn characters. No. But I don't think people wanted to read. I don't think something I read about Frankenstein said like at the time people didn't think of women as having like rich inner lives. So people wouldn't have wanted to read about independent, strong female characters. This is not what people wanted in women back then.
Yeah. So maybe her feminism is expressed more in the criticism of man's arrogance than actually advocating any sort of strong female characters. Also, I will say I was surprised that Mary Shelley lost her mother at a very young age. Victor in the book loses the mother. In a story about someone who can reanimate the dead, there was no thought given at all to like, is this a technology capable to bring back the people we lost, or like any sort of meditation?
Yeah, that was
on
interesting.
that?
It's not clear if when he's giving life to these body parts, it's not clear if he thinks he's reanimating this person or if he's making something brand new. And I guess it comes to life not like as a baby, basically, with like no memories.
So the monster confirms that it has no recollection of its prior life, but
barely remembers its own childhood, so to speak.
Victor would not have known that. It would have made sense to me if he was motivated by... Is it just like implied that the loss of his mother is what is sort of propelling him to do this? Because I don't think that was explicitly said at all.
Right. No, I didn't get that in particular.
Mm-hmm. All right, those are my questions.
Criminology.
I wanted to tell you, just because it's interesting in the big difference, we already talked about the monster being basically unthinking, or like a child, basically, which made more sense. But something they did that was really goofy, that is worth pointing out in the movie, is when Victor and his little assistant, not Igor, it's not called Igor, he has a different name. He's looking for body parts, and he's like, we really need a brain. And so his little assistant breaks into the university, and when he goes to grab like a brain labeled like normal human brain, he drops it. He's like, oh, let me grab the other brain, and it says criminal brain. Oh. So when they bring Frankenstein's monster to life, they have put a criminal brain into the monster.
Is this a comedy?
As an
to explain why he's monsters.
It kind of seems like, but yeah. So it implies there's like this biological explanation of violence or criminality, and that is why the monster has those tendencies. Which is also sort of at odds of like whatever sort of sympathy the movie wants to make you feel for the monster.
Was the movie trying to make you feel sympathetic of the monster?
Maybe a little bit more than the book to be. Well, well, he does just sort of murder a child for no reason.
Oh, for fun.
Yeah, but it to me was a little more of Mice and Men. You could tell like it wasn't out of malice. It was like, oh, let's throw flowers into the lake, and he's like, oh, I'll throw you into the lake, and then the kid just drowns.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I don't think Victor was thinking about his mother and creating the monster. I think he was just a megalomaniac, so it's a more commentary on men doing whatever they want.
Yeah, I'm with Paula. He says he wants to understand like life, and the way to do that is to understand death. And he never, it's not clear. Like he misses his mother, and she's like this, image of a perfect woman to him. But it doesn't really.
Yeah, I agree. Men just doing whatever they want for 200 years.
Yeah, I think an interesting take I read about was like Shelley and Byron at the time, I guess, like learned men were talking about science, and like this was making men into like something like gods, not like literally gods, but like we were becoming more powerful and more creative. And this is a really interesting take about kind of the downsides of that kind of power and creativity.
Yeah.
That it took a woman to write.
Men. Boo. It's like we're watching The View over here. All right.
It's a Family Guy joke, right? Men. Boo.
Is that Simpsons or Family Guy?
I think Family Guy.
Okay. All right, last take. It's October, Matt. You know movies.
I have heard of movies.
Actually, wait, just to wrap up Frankenstein. Did you like it?
I only really care about prose style in literature, and this is kind of a tough read. A lot of the language is like the same words, no unfamiliar, like a couple unfamiliar words.
Yeah, I had to look some up.
But some of them were used in really like ways that were no longer used this way. Like discovered kept being used, and it didn't mean. It meant like uncovered, basically. Like it was discovered to me. It meant someone told it to her or him, rather than like that kind of weird, like antiquated use of these words. So I found it a difficult read, and also kind of the punctuation. There's a lot of like commas where we wouldn't use commas anymore, and like the sentence structure was strange. There'd be like long kind of parenthetical clauses, and then it was hard to. Anyway, I'm getting into the weeds here.
But you're big on
yes.
style, not just substance, right?
I like the style. I appreciated the prose.
Yeah, I was surprised how much I didn't mind the writing style, even if there were times where like things were really dragging in a way that was. But that was more just that it didn't make sense in the story as much as I didn't enjoy the writing, like him describing at length the family history of the family he happens upon across the cottage. The writing was fine to me, but it was just strange that was so much was being said about that at that time for no reason. I didn't love it, but it was fine.
I'm glad I read it. I bought also the 1831 version, which I intended to also read. I think they are too similar enough that it's not really necessary to read a whole new book, even though it's only about a couple hundred pages. But it will live on my bookshelf with my other good books.
Yeah, it's always nice to have another book on the bookshelf you actually read. It's not just sitting there taunting you. Rank it with your other. Who someone said that? Have you read any of the other books we've read this year? Probably not.
I don't really pay attention to the books you read.
That's fine.
I'm a literature snob.
You are.
And this one, passes my smell test.
The only other one that I think would have been okay for you is 100 Years of Solitude.
Oh, I've tried to read that. I can't get into that book. I can't get into Marquez. I've tried many times. Just don't. I don't love the writing.
I was really not enjoying it until very close to the end. Something sort of clicked with me, and the point of it was that it's very repetitious and cyclical in things. And I think I came to a place where I just sort of accepted that, and then I kind of enjoyed the conclusion. Okay. But that's a tough read.
Yeah, I just think it's not for me.
Yeah. Rad Game. It was terrible. Yeah. A lot of people really didn't like that book. Yeah. Okay, I was gonna talk about movies. I know we've already talked a while. We could let you go, but I promised people every week in October we would watch a spooky movie.
Oh, good.
I have a bit of a problem in that I already said I wanted to watch The Fountain after reading Frankenstein, and that's probably gonna take the first week of October.
Okay.
I thought The Fountain would be an interesting parallel to Frankenstein, but I decided that before I read Frankenstein, and I'm not sure if I still feel that way. But it is a guy, not to ruin anything, also trying to overcome the limitations of death.
Yeah, that's one of my all-time favorite movies.
I love that movie too.
Yeah, I think it's not one of what's his face, Aronofsky's better regarded films. No. His filmography is all over the place now. He's got some real garbage recently. But I think that's easily my favorite.
I don't think I've seen any of his movies since. I haven't seen Mother or anything. I saw Noah.
You didn't see The Whale?
I still have not seen The Whale.
Wow, okay.
I know. I've got to change that.
Yeah.
But anyway, for the rest of the month, I wanted to give people a buffet of horror movies. These are some tentative selections.
Okay, there was a good one on the list there. It's gone now. It vanished.
What is it?
Pizza and Nail Polish recommended Train to Busan.
I have Train to Busan
the
here.
last great... okay. I didn't look at... I'm not paying any attention to this. The last great zombie movie, I think.
Okay. So Fountain, I still got to do.
Yeah.
I feel like It Follows might be a bit of a polarizing movie. Did you think it was a metaphor for like sexually transmitted?
Yeah, I can see where that comes from. That's almost a little bit too on the head, I think. I think it's just about mortality.
Okay. That impending...
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
And I think the ending especially. I don't want to say more than that. But I watched that again. I saw that in theaters when it came out. And then I watched it again recently, and it wasn't as good as I remembered it, but I think it's still excellent. Okay. It's still...
Uma, who generally has good taste in
Uma
movies.
Hates It Follows.
Uma Hates It Follows.
Huh.
Uma, do you have a recommendation that's not on here?
Yeah, what's better than It Follows?
I thought It Follows was a good more artsy, but still has a bit of a dread, scary feeling.
Oh yeah, why no original Exorcist? The 4K Exorcist has come out after Friedkin is dead. So that's...
was he holding that up?
No, I just think it's...
I
actually think it's probably a coincidence.
I really like The Exorcist. I am scarred by like many, many years ago, pre-Christine. I went on a date with a girl where I picked that as a movie. And she looked at me after and goes, "Why did you make me watch that?"
I went on a blind date once, and we went to go see the new Suspiria. I forget the filmmaker name. The Italian guy who made Call Me By Your Name. Oh. The film he did after that was a remake of the Dario Argento giallo film Suspiria. And it is brutal. It is Brain Dead, a.k.a. Dead Alive. Can you watch that? That is one of my favorite horror comedies. The scene of the homeless man in the park with the baby. Who is that person? They know what I'm talking about. Trisha knows what I'm talking about. That is one of the funniest things I've ever seen. Yeah. Trisha knows what I'm talking about.
I hate horror comedy so
no.
much.
Please watch this one.
What was it called? Brain Dead? That's not Peter Jackson.
It is Peter Jackson.
Oh, no.
And they gave this guy like a $1 billion Lord of the Rings film franchise after he made these like weird low-budget Kiwi horror comedies. There was a good horror comedy recently. I think it was Irish, and it was about ghosts. Does anybody know this? Help. Chat, help. Irish horror comedy.
Do you like horror?
It's not called Bad Taste.
Am I supposed to be scared? Am I supposed to laugh?
Yeah, mostly laugh. You're not going to be genuinely afraid of Brain Dead. It's gory. It's a lot of fun.
I just have a visceral reaction to this genre. I don't know.
I'm
why.
taking over Filmtendo here. Here, let me pass judgment on the. I'm going to pass judgment on the rest of your films here. It follows. Yeah, I'm still. Did Uma tell us a better? I'm still waiting.
Uma can think on it.
Yeah, Hereditary, definitely the best horror movie.
Hereditary,
many years.
The best newish scary movie.
I loved It Follows. Train to Busan.
I thought Hereditary would actually be too
extreme.
A little too much.
It's a lot. Skinamarink is, which you've misspelled, is not. I don't think.
Too experimental.
I think it's too experimental. Even I almost couldn't handle that movie. But
I would like to see it. So it's
have
kind
you not
of
seen
selfish.
It?
I still haven't seen it.
Wait, do you know?
I do know.
Okay.
Matt is credited as
I'm a special thanks.
Did you donate $5 to a GoFundMe or something?
$50, and then I forgot about it. So I completely forgot I donated to this movie. So I went to go see it in a movie theater, and I'm sitting there in the theater, and my name shows up on the screen, and it kind of ruined the movie for me. I was so like,
it took you out of it.
Yeah. Okay. Babadook. Yeah. Great.
I did not love the Babadook.
Oh. Okay. That's weird. There was another recent Australian horror movie called Talk to Me.
I still haven't seen that.
Really good.
Can you get that?
Here. Yeah, you can rent it. It's on. You can get it on iTunes or whatever.
You know what? I would consider Talk to Me. I would add Talk to Me
is good. List. I went to go see an Indian horror film called It Lives Inside. It just came out.
Is that in the thing in the walls? They put people in like assisted living houses.
Huh?
Or what?
No, it's not about this. It's about like Indian mythology.
Okay, never mind. I'm thinking there's a movie about like they resettle like these African migrants or something in like assisted housing.
Okay.
And there's like a monster in the walls.
Oh, I want that. What is that?
Have you heard of this? Does anyone know what I'm talking about?
Is that Our House?
Maybe.
Uma said Exorcist apparently. Yeah, Exorcist is probably.
That's very on the nose.
Exorcist, best horror movie, probably best horror movie of all time.
I think so.
And then I'd say Hereditary of late.
I will only watch The Exorcist if we also watch The Exorcist 2, Heretic.
I really like I watched the guy who made The Exorcist 2, John Boorman. He made a film called Zardoz that I watched the other night because it was leaving Criterion this month. And that is one of the weirdest things I've ever seen.
Weirder than The Exorcist 2?
Oh yeah, Zardoz is really out there. I really like The Exorcist 2, but I think I'm the only one. I've never seen The Exorcist 3. Yeah.
Wait, you've never seen The Exorcist 3?
No.
Most people skip 2 and watch 3.
That's what I've heard.
It's got one of the best jump scares
in
any.
I haven't seen The Pope's Exorcist yet. It's on Prime or Crave?
It just showed up on Crave or something,
Nightmare on Elm Street is playing at our indie theater here. I've never seen that either.
I don't like the whole
I haven't seen
the
slasher. Yeah, I've not really seen any of those.
It's not for me.
Tale of Two Sisters. That is one of the best. It's a Korean movie. Yeah. There's a Hollywood remake of it called The Uninvited with Elizabeth Banks, I think. But that's not very good.
Oh, I did watch this.
Yeah, Tale of Two Sisters is amazing.
There's a big twist. Yeah.
There's a really interesting twist. Tale of Two Sisters is incredible. Yeah. It's the Ottawa Korean Film Festival's on right now. Chat, if you're in Ottawa, it's not too late to go see the Ottawa Korean Film Festival.
Jordan Peele movies are always winners.
Disagree.
Us. I wanted to like Us.
Us makes no sense. Us takes one of the greatest premises of all time, and it goes in this complete insane nonsense. Makes me very upset.
I agree.
Okay, The Wailing. I like The Wailing. Okay.
Cannibal Holocaust?
No, I have not seen that, and I don't think I need to see that.
I went through a phase where I wanted to watch stuff like that.
No thanks.
No thanks.
This is way more interesting than book chat. Which Poltergeist? New Poltergeist or old Poltergeist?
Silly Munchkins, big sweetie. You like the Poltergeist, Silly Munchkins? Haunted Castle. Get Out.
What is the
so
Haunted
good.
Castle?
Get Out.
Get Out is
was
my
good.
favorite of his. I think his movies are getting worse and worse. I'm done.
The spaceship one was pretty.
Yeah. Hey, no spoilers.
Oh, have you not seen it?
I've seen it, but
okay.
some people might not have seen it.
Saying the spaceship one. What's it called? Up?
No. Nope.
Nope. Up.
Wolf Creek, that's not my kind of movie. Oh, El Orfanto, The Orphanage. I don't know if you can get that. That is barely... Well, it is a horror movie. It's not really a supernatural movie. That
Cabin in the
awesome.
Woods, I do not like.
Wait,
trying
is
to
it
be
Cabin
funny.
in the Woods or... Wait, which one is that? Is that the Shyamalan or is that the JJ or Josh?
No, that's the funny one.
Yeah,
the
yeah,
guys,
yeah.
they're experimenting on them. Midsummer's great. I am a sucker for found fiction.
Found footage?
Found... What did I say?
Yeah. Found fiction. It is fiction. It is, yeah.
I like found footage, and I haven't seen a good one in a long time. So VHS intrigues me. I don't know about 1999. Have you seen any of these?
No.
These are like...
I haven't seen too much of this.
Yeah. They're like compilations of Blair Witch rewatch.
Yeah, Blair Witch is still the best of those.
I
think.
love the Blair Witch.
Yeah.
I didn't even mind the... I don't know if you call it a remake. When they released another one just called Blair Witch.
Oh, yeah. No.
I never saw the second. I didn't like the idea of it.
Smile. I like Smile. Smile is like a goofy... I really enjoyed Smile. A lot more than I expected to.
Was the thing supposed to be Frankenstein's creature stuck in the ice?
No, the thing is an alien, I think, isn't it?
It's a good movie.
The thing comes from space, I think.
Yes.
Or is it found under...
They released a prequel movie years
of
later
course they did.
that was actually supposed to be all right.
No, thank you. Well, there's a...
Great ending
There's
to
a
the
black
thing.
and white thing also, right?
Oh, yeah,
It's a
that's not
really,
what I'm...
yeah.
Most people think of the...
Yeah.
Kurt... What's the
his
guy's name?
face?
I
Kurt
was going to say
Russell?
Kurt Russell?
Kurt
Is that his name?
Russell, yeah.
I love the OG Blair Witch. Refuse to watch the remakes. It's so
Yeah.
good.
Remakes? Are there more than one?
Uh...
The guy in the corner in the Blair Witch is one of the scariest things.
Blair Witch 2 was scarier? I haven't seen Blair Witch.
I saw Blair Witch 2 before Blair Witch 1. It's a completely different kind
Yeah.
of movie. Yeah. But I like it fine.
Thing 1982. Is that a
Yeah.
horror movie? Is that an October movie? Why don't we say that for like Christmas?
I think it's allowed.
Like Christmas Eve, we'll all watch the thing.
Yeah, Old Suspiria. Josh knows what's what. You can. It's sold out, but Goblin, who did the music to Old Suspiria, is doing it live next week, also at the Mayfair. This is a Mayfair.
This is a Mayfair
this is a-
plugs
this is
all over the place.
Sponsored by the Mayfair.
Are they actually doing The Shining forwards and backwards?
Yeah.
Yeah? What, in October?
November 2nd, I think. I'm not here. I'm not in town, but you should go.
Think about it.
And every year they play The Shining with The Exorcist, the double feature.
That's good.
And The Exorcist is also playing. Both theaters are playing a bunch of old Friedkin films.
Suicide Club. Is that
Suicide
the...
Club? I don't know that. I don't think Parasite's a horror movie, but
Are you
Thumbs
what's that Netflix show?
let the right one in.
Haunting of Hill House?
No, I haven't
You
seen
seen
any
that?
of that stuff. Yeah. TV's too long. I'll watch 10 movies before I'll watch one 20-hour.
I would watch
Face Off.
the religious one he did. He did Hill House, then he did Bly Manor.
Okay.
Most people prefer Hill House. I actually like Bly Manor a lot.
Okay.
And then he did one with like a lot of religious themes. What was that called? Fuck.
You are not the first person to
Midnight
recommend
Mass.
Midnight Mass. People have recommended me Dark before. I will watch Dark one day. Is that German? Danish? Where's that from?
You should watch. I know a lot of smart people who really like Midnight Mass.
Oh yeah. Okay.
The biggest issue with it
It's a TV show.
is the monologuing.
Oh, okay.
People sort of speak to each other in speeches sometimes, which is actually very well written.
Okay.
But it's like
I can handle that.
people don't really talk to each other like that, you know?
Yeah, smart people.
Smart people, yeah. I can't talk like
Yeah.
that. I'm like, my sentences can't be more than like 10 words.
Hollow Man. I
Hollow
wish that was the name, how the movie was spelled.
Is that a movie?
Hollow Man spelt
Is it about me?
HOLLOW is a movie. It's kind of a mess, but it's worthwhile.
All right. I still feel pretty
Yeah.
good about my list, but I said there was one I would consider adding. What was that? I'm going to have to watch
The
this
Fountain
back.
is a really weird choice.
Well, that's not...
Yeah.
That's just... It is what it is.
Are you doing this for real?
I think so. But maybe we drop Skinamarink.
Yeah, that's a tough watch.
I'm going to watch it on my own at some point.
Yeah,
So
you have to.
that is just like a random Tuesday night.
Support my film.
Candyman? No.
I haven't seen the new Candyman.
Isn't the fountain tonight?
Is that tonight?
Oh.
Today's not the 6th.
Well, I let people vote. Let me check. I let people vote on whether it should be tonight, Monday, or Friday.
Wait, do you play the movies on your stream?
No.
That's illegal.
That's illegal.
You can't do that.
Illegal is
Is this a real house?
sick bird.
Do people see the screen?
Do they want to see this?
I want people to see this. Is that a real place?
A real place?
Yeah. Is this real?
I don't think.
Are you
it's
seeing
real.
this?
I don't think that's real.
So, oh, I want to go there.
Disappointed. Where did I put this?
There's a lot happening right now.
Where's the vote? People overwhelmingly prefer films on Fridays,
Friday's movie night.
so the fountain will have to be Friday.
Can't do it. I'm going to be. I'm in Edmonton on Friday.
It's corrupt where I'm from, Edmonton. Tough.
That's right.
Matt has new travel plans to see the
Man,
Donkey Kong house.
I
would come with you if there
go
was
to
a
there.
Donkey Kong house. I would go there.
Yeah. Why?
Let's go to Shrek. They
How come
made
that's
me
not a real
watch
place?
Shrek.
I think Shrek is good. The first, or no?
Well, I watched Shrek 2.
Okay.
It was very not good.
Oh, sorry to hear that.
Almost as bad as a horror comedy film. All right. You can leave anytime.
Okay. Yeah, I thought.
Thank you, Matt. Shrek is good. Okay, we got to end the stream.
Okay. Wait, are we done?
It's up to you.
I'll just keep talking about horror movies I like forever, or books. Yeah, you got to read better books.
Forever. You get your
Yeah.
own stream.
Yeah. Would people watch my own if I make my own stream and I talk about better books? Would people watch that?
They probably would.
Yeah.
You'd probably have like 50 people or something.
Yeah. What's the next book?
The next book is The Shining.
Oh, is it? I'm not reading.
Yeah.
Sorry.
It's long.
Not interested.
Because I love the movie so much, and there's so much history to that sort of tension between Kubrick and
Yeah,
Stephen
okay.
King. I'm interested in that.
Oh, I've been watching old Kubrick movies, like the really early stuff.
I haven't seen his.
Yeah. I like the first one, which is called Fear and Desire.
Mhm.
And then after that, I don't like the next few. I've still never seen Barry Lyndon or
I knew you were gonna say that.
Spartacus.
Same.
Chat likes me more than you.
How could they? Does Matt
I'm
ever
just-
play video games?
just
They
gonna-
want to know.
I just finished Tears of the Kingdom, which
How
is
was
a
it?
Zelda game. It's amazing. Has kind of a, I'd say, anticlimactic ending. But it really took over my life, and I probably played it for like 100 hours. So.
Oh wow, you're kind of a completionist with these games.
No,
or-
no, God, no.
You're not getting all the Korok seeds?
Yeah, exactly. I'm not even close. But yeah, that game was. I need a break from video games. I need to read books again.
Does my nail art? Sorry to interrupt. Just for November or December, we said on another stream. I'll add it to the list, but I think we're gonna read The Handmaid's Tale
Okay.
after The Shining, and maybe the sequel she wrote to it more recently. What did she call that?
The enchantment? No, the something mints. It's the
Tenements?
Tenements? The Testaments? Something like that.
Something like that.
Chat will tell us.
Testaments.
There it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, you were saying.
Oh, I got like 80 books I got to read now. And
You got a lot of books?
I can't.
I think they're more asking if there's games you play that you could play with me on stream.
Oh, I've never played Fortnite or Among Us. What are the kids playing these days?
Kids are playing Fortnite.
Yeah.
All those babies.
PUBG?
A great game for October is called
Counter-Strike.
Phasmophobia.
Phasmophobia. Can I play that?
I would look into that. That'd be fun to play.
Yeah. Chat Arena.
We played Counter-Strike way before it was cool.
I
think.
played Counter-Strike in the 90s when
Like
it was a
a
mod
Half-Life,
for Half-Life. Yeah, before it was a standalone game.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I haven't played Counter-Strike in ages.
Phasmo might be fun. Do you have a what kind
Switch.
of computer do you have?
Oh, I have a MacBook. It's not running any good games.
Yeah.
You can
it could
buy
be
me a
tough.
PC if you want.
I could buy
Yeah.
you a computer.
I'll look into Phasmophobia.
Is that a business expense?
I'll see if I can play that.
Try Demonologist. It's similar to Phasmo.
Oh boy, I don't know what's going on in games anymore. I got like 20 years of PC games I need to catch up on.
Yeah, it's a little
BioShock 2.
overwhelming.
When was that? I never played BioShock 2. Was that 20 years ago? Probably.
You're a System Shock guy.
System Shock 2 is maybe my favorite game of all time. That's up
Really? Okay.
there. Morrowind,
It's up
Elder
there.
Scrolls 3 Morrowind, because of the story, as someone noted.
You could play from Christine's
I'll come
computer.
over and borrow her
Christine's
computer.
playing. We do have an extra computer here,
No.
but we'd have to all be here.
I've never played Skyrim. I played a little bit of Oblivion, but yeah, Morrowind is obviously the best one. not wasting my time with anything else.
I like more instant gratification games, you know? That's a reason like I appeal to
Metroid?
retro games.
Oh, I see.
Where there's just that sort of immediately, did I jump properly?
Have you played Celeste?
I tried Celeste and did not like
Ah, man. Celeste is maybe my favorite Switch. I played it on the Switch.
Yeah.
It's not a Switch game. It's like an indie game. It's for all sorts of platforms.
I don't know.
That is one of my favorite games of all time.
My favorite recent game is a game called Jump King. Have you heard about
Jump
this?
King. No.
You haven't heard
No.
about this?
Celeste.
Do you want to try it?
Okay. Do you want to play Celeste? What's happening?
I've tried Celeste. You're gonna try Jump King.
Oh, I'm a Twitch streamer now.
This game I found so addictive. It just it kind of took over my life for a few weeks.
There is a smoking hot babe at the top. Well, that's too bad.
Okay, you don't have to worry about that. They're just saying you're trying to get to the top of a tower.
Okay.
So you press space.
How do I play this? Do I use this control thing?
No, you just use the keyboard. So the only controls
Do you have a keyboard that doesn't have these lights?
are the lights bothering.
Yeah, it keeps changing. It's distracting.
Okay,
Does chat know what I'm talking
you don't
about?
even know.
Has chat seen the
You
keyboard?
can show them the keyboard.
This is horrible. Why would anybody want this? Look.
Is
ridiculous.
Is that too distracting?
Okay, what do I do?
Here, I'll start a new game. The only there's one button. The spacebar is to jump.
Yeah.
The longer you hold spacebar, the higher you jump, and then all there is left, right, or just jumping straight up.
Yeah, okay. Do I have to watch this?
Nope, you can just jump. So if you tap it, you just do a little baby jump. If you hold it for a couple seconds, that's your full jump.
So this is the size I can jump?
That's as high as you can jump.
Oh. Wait, is chat seeing this?
They can see it, yeah.
Oh god. I did it. Oh. This reminds me of a Jason Rohrer game. What is that called?
Jason Rohrer?
Yeah, he makes indie art games like Passage, which you should play.
Oh,
Play
yeah.
Passage.
I've played
Did I
Passage.
make you play that?
I've never done that on stream though.
I'm in Red Crown Woods. The whole game takes like what, 5 minutes? I did that on purpose. Oh no. Can you die?
No, there's no fall damage. But it's a people call it a Fodian game.
I don't know what that means.
Basically
boy.
just
I'm
means
really bad at this.
No, but this is it. Like the first time you beat this game will probably take a few hours.
Okay.
But then if it scratches the same itch it did for you in my brain,
Yeah.
I became sort of committed to it and got to the
Okay.
point where I could beat it in like 6
Hours?
minutes.
Oh. Okay.
Actually, chat, do you remember how long it took me the first time to beat this? I did it on stream, so there's probably a record of it.
I don't know. This reminds me of Braid for some reason. I don't know why. This is nothing like Braid.
Yeah.
I don't like that you can't move once you've already committed to the jump. Even though that's
I mean,
far
that's-
more realistic than,
That's
than
just the
most
way it is.
video game jumping. Yeah.
Anyway, I will buy this game for you if you want to play it.
Will this run on my MacBook Air?
It should be able to.
Oh, wow.
So a Fodian game is a game where you make a lot of progress, but then it's very punishing. If you make a mistake, you could lose a lot of progress.
What's it called?
Fodian?
Fodian.
There's a guy who's sort of famous for making some games like that. Like,
I see.
have you ever seen clips of like there's a guy in like a not an anvil. What's it called? There's a guy in like a cauldron, and you've got like a hammer. And you're just trying to
that's,
climb up a hill.
Yeah, what is that called? Ooh. Now what do I do? Not that.
Show him only up.
I'm so sad.
Only up. They took off this. I don't think you can get only up anymore.
I'm so sad that chat has to watch me play this poorly.
I mean, you don't have to play.
Chat, don't you have better things to do with your lives?
Nope, they don't. They do not.
Go read a good book. Somebody asked for Dostoevsky in the chat. That person is a masochist.
I liked Crime and Punishment.
Hate it.
You didn't?
No, can't
Really?
say.
I thought that was an easy read.
I've read 3 of his books and I didn't like any of them.
What do you read? The Idiot?
No, I read Notes from Underground, Crime and Punishment, and Brothers
Karamazov. I
Karamazov,
want to read.
Karamazov.
That's the next one I'd want to read. I've read Crime and Punishment.
Don't bother.
I'd like to read the Brothers Karamazov.
Oh God. Nabokov hated Dostoevsky, so I feel
So I should
somewhat
be
vindicated.
I'm a little scared to put Pale Fire onto book club.
Why? Too experimental?
Well, I love it so much. I don't know if I
It'll
want
hurt
to.
you if
People
chat
don't
doesn't love
like it. Yeah. Honestly, sometimes I pick that up and just read the poem.
Yeah,
A lot of people think, or there's a theory that Nabokov wanted to just release poetry, but
Why,
he
you didn't think people would read his poetry?
uh,
Did he not write
it
any
didn't make a
poems?
ton of sense. But
Yeah, I have a hard
I think
time
it was
with
kind of this idea that like he really just wanted to do a poem more than a book.
I'm not getting better at this.
You'll get better, then you'll get worse. You'll feel like you're making progress, and then you don't, and then you'll lose. Then you'll feel bad about yourself, but then you'll feel good. And
Okay.
then there's a smoking hot babe at the top.
Is it actually a smoking hot babe?
I mean, as smoking hot as these graphics will allow,
That is what it is.
it's just a princess at the top of the castle trope.
There's no like braid like twist to the princess.
No twists. I don't want any twists. I have a long day of work. I just want to jump up and find a hot babe.
Is this fun, chat? Is this fun to you? Like to play it? I mean, not to watch me being bad at it. Why do people play this? Is this enjoyable?
Go play Tears of the Kingdom.
Yeah, I'd
I'll
much
take
rather
this
do
any
that.
day. See, and now you're back at the beginning.
I'm good.
They say it's fun to watch Ben fall, but Ben only goes up. So they're wrong.
Was that a DJ Khaled joke?
Nope.
Oh, okay, never mind. Someone asked him recently why he didn't lose weight. He says, "Because I never lose, I only win."
That's a good line.
Yeah,
That's a
that's.
good
Someone wants me to. Oh, I did play Fall Guys with you.
Oh yeah.
That's
Lie.
that's all I've played.
Okay. All right, I
Okay.
gotta go find some lunch. I think.
More cookies?
Yeah. Lunch cookies.
Okay. Thanks, chat.
Thanks for coming.
Thanks for talking about horror movies
Thanks
with
for
me.
hanging out. Don't forget about Frankenstein.
Yeah. DJ Khaled #1.
Oh, it's 6:00. It's not lunch at all.
It's dinner time.
What's for dinner? Chat, what's for dinner? Bye.
Bye.
Okay, we'll go.
Okay.
I'm gonna go eat.
All right. Bye, friends.
Okay, bye everyone. Thanks for hanging out. See you next month for The Shining, and let's watch movies soon.
Pinsa.